Former Arizona Cardinals coach KLIFF Kingsbury is expected to interview for the Chicago Bears offensive coordinator opening, sources say, and sources told by ESPN's Adam Schefter on Thursday. Kingsbury is the 9th known candidate the Bears have requested to interview, joining a list of including Shane Waldron, Greg Olson, Clint Kubiak, Liam Cohn, Greg Roman, Thomas Brown, Marcus Brady, and Zach Robinson. The Bears fired former offensive coordinator Luke Getsy and 4 members of the offensive staff January 10th and began their search for replacing the offensive coordinator. Chicago ranked 2nd in rushing, but 27th in passing offense in 2023. I think it's a great hire if they bring in KLIFF Kingsbury. First of all, if you bring in a Caleb Williams, which more than likely, even if you don't bring in Caleb Williams and you bring Justin Fields, I think KLIFF Kingsbury is a great offensive coordinator, especially for young quarterbacks and developing young quarterbacks, as you saw what he did for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes praises KLIFF Kingsbury, saying that if it wasn't for KLIFF, he wouldn't be the quarterback he is today. He also helped Baker Mayfield develop. So this is a guy that knows how to develop young quarterbacks, and maybe if you bring in a KLIFF Kingsbury, you decide, hey, KLIFF says, I could fix a guy like Justin Fields. You can hold off on drafting a quarterback at 1, trade out of that pick, get a significant amount of chunk change of first-round draft picks in the future for the Chicago Bears organization. You still have that number 9 pick where you can get yourself another wide receiver.
And again, you also look at the offensive coordinators that are really hooked to this position, whether it's because of Fields or because of this number 1 pick. That's a nice list that they got there, too. I actually was advocating for Greg Roman to be their head coach a while ago when he was having success with the Ravens, and he had success with the 49ers, obviously, with Kaepernick. When they first drafted Fields and the whole Nagy thing didn't work out, I was actually advocating for him to be a head coach. I think he would be a great fit if they decide to keep Fields. And same kind of thing with Shane Waldron, too, as the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. He helped really rebirth Geno Smith last year. Now, this year he wasn't as good. He had some turnover issues, but a lot of that to do with Geno Smith dealing with injuries. Now, it's interesting if KLIFF Kingsbury comes there, if they do either keep Fields, like you were saying, a lot of the quarterbacks that he's coached, including Kyler Murray, are like that, or if they draft Caleb Williams. Because remember, KLIFF Kingsbury was on that USC coaching staff for a little while after he had that whole Thailand retreat.
Yeah, and that's why I think Caleb Williams could be a guy that they could be looking at number 1. But again, Justin Fields can be fixed, and I don't think they're far off with winning with Justin Fields if they give themselves another wide receiver. I think a guy from the kid from Washington, Dunze, I think he would be perfect on the other side with a guy like Moore. I think they need another weapon. And they have weapons. They need a running game, too, because they have no number 1 running back after giving up David Montgomery, who went to the Lions, who had a really good season as their number 2 guy behind Gibbs in the second half of the season. So I sit here today, and I think KLIFF Kingsbury is the best pick. And this is a good list of offensive coordinators. Even Greg Olson, who's never been an offensive coordinator. He's a good broadcaster, by the way. He does a very good job for Fox Sports. And a lot of people took shots at Greg Olson 2 years ago, and he did the Super Bowl last year. So I think I think he could be a good offensive coordinator, maybe a head coach. I know he was interested in the Carolina job when it became available. I don't know if they're going to interview him, but as an offensive, he needs to prove himself as an offensive coordinator. And remember, he was a successful tight end in the league. And KLIFF Kingsbury, I think he's a very good offensive coordinator. I really do. I don't know if he's a head coach, but he's a very good offensive coordinator. He knows how to develop quarterbacks, like I was saying just a little while ago. I think he could figure it out what's going on with Justin Fields. And if it's not Justin Fields, Caleb Williams would be a nice fit. And he knows Caleb Williams very, very well. A nice fit to combine him with KLIFF Kingsbury on their mutual way into the new season. So it's going to be very, very interesting with KLIFF Kingsbury. I think if it happens, it's a great hire. I think out of all these guys, I hire KLIFF Kingsbury.